Hi, I'm Rodolfo de la Peña, and today I'm going to discuss a very particular aspect of the oral exam. I'm talking about the C1 oral exam, or C2 for that matter. It doesn't make much of a difference. The problem is sophisticated conversations, and by sophisticated, of course, I don't necessarily mean that kind of high-minded debate about human rights or freedom of speech, or I'm talking about, something slightly lofty, formal, serious. The prison system, the healthcare system, the school system. Okay, I'm using the word system 3 times deliberately because it's systems that we're expected to talk about, not personal experiences. Now, the problem is that so far you've probably been trained to use glorified versions of I think. So you've learned things like, to the best of my knowledge, as far as I'm aware, from what I can gather, in my view, in my opinion, and all the rest of it. I mean, those are fine phrases. There is absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, they're quite interesting, diverse, whenever it's necessary to voice an opinion. Now, I don't believe that that is necessarily the case when you discuss the prison system. I mean, or the death penalty. I mean, unless you've been on death row or you're a lawyer, really, in my experience, I don't think you can say that. Is it relevant? Well, maybe not. So, how do we avoid using personal subjects? Well, the answer is sort of self explanatory. Don't use personal subjects. Don't say I, don't say the politicians that pass laws should, because you focus on the politicians or the government or inmates or lawyers. What if you focus on the facts, the events, the data, and you say deciding which inmates are eligible for, okay, deciding, that is not a person. That is an activity. It's a process. It's something that occurs. But it's not I think or they act and all the rest of it. Now, my question is, do you feel that there is this sort of a glass ceiling? It's a I'm sorry, I don't mean to trivialize the actual glass ceiling, but there is something that remotely resembles a glass ceiling. You're trapped in the intermediate level, and when you see someone talk like that, you of course understand, you can see what that person is doing, and yet when it comes to the crunch, to the oral exam, you're under pressure, and then you find yourself saying, well, as far as I know, or I strongly believe, again, fine, nothing wrong with those phrases. But I believe you should diversify your menu and go for things like the passive voice. And you say, mistakes were made in the past. And then you talk about the mistakes. Not about the people that made the mistakes, because they might not be that relevant to the conversation. Do you see what I mean? I know it's extremely simple. What I'm saying is sort of basic, and yet it's still an issue, isn't it? So, little tricks. Deciding, the decision making process. So you talk about the process, not about the people that make those decisions. As an exercise, try to incorporate all these strategies: the passive voice, the abstract nouns. You say boredom may lead to, not when you get bored, boredom, abstract nouns, etc. Try and write a little paragraph about any remotely, abstract subject matter without using personal subjects. Try and do that. I know it's hard at first, but it kind of you get used to that. You know. I hope my little talk was helpful. Bye.